G'day guys, today we are looking at the Warlock changes for Shadowlands and 9.0. Please keep in mind that these are subject to change because this is beta and a lot of the information is scattered around different patch notes, so we've tried to put together everything we could find in this video and I hope you guys like it. So starting off with curses guys, there's 3 curses for Warlocks now. So there's Curse of Exhaustion, which is a 50% movement speed reduction for 8 seconds. There's Curse of Tongues, which is a 30% increased cast time for them for 30 seconds, and there's Curse of Weakness, which is a 20% less attack speed for them for 2 minutes. Keep in mind you can only have 1 curse active per target. So summoning pets, which is all the pets under the summon demon spell, their cast time has gone up to 6 seconds from 2.5. There is a way to bypass this though with a new spell called Fell Domination. Basically what Fell Domination does is it's on a 3-minute cooldown and it reduces the cast time of the imp to 0.5 seconds. We've got Ritual of Doom guys, which basically sacrifices a random participant in your party to summon a Doom Guard. It requires 4 party members though to cast, and it's a 3-minute cast that's channeled and it has a 60-minute cooldown. So it's a bit of fun to kill off somebody. We have got Corruption now as a baseline spell for all Warlock specs. However, outside of Affliction, it is a 2-second cast time. Looking at Fear, guys, when you're casting Fear, you can no longer suffer pushbacks. So it's a small change. With Shadow Fury and Soulstone, they now have a base mana cost of 1%. And with Soulstone, when you res a target, they'll always have at least 20% mana, which would be nice for the healers. Subjugate Demon is the new name of Enslaved Demon. They've just renamed it and it's limited to 1 target. Control Demon spell has been removed, however you can still control your demons. Let's move on to talents guys. These are the ones that affect all Warlock specs. So we've got Dark Pact, which now shields the target for 250% of sacrifice health as before, but it now adds an additional amount. It currently says 0 in the tooltip, but we'll see how that turns out. So we've got Dark Fury guys, which is exactly the same as before, however it now also increases the radius of Shadow Fury by 2 yards. So we've got Howl of Terror guys, this is a new talent. Basically when you cast this it will fear up to 5 enemies within 10 yards for 20 seconds. But damage will obviously break it as it is a fear. Let's take a look at the Affliction spec now guys. So there's a new spell which is baseline for Warlocks guys, which is Malefic Rupture. Basically what this does is when you put a dot on a target and you cast this spell, it will explode on all targets within line of sight that have a dot on them. So you can spread all your dots and cast this ability and all your dots will be exploding. So this will be a bit of fun to play with. So on Stable Affliction guys, it has been changed. Obviously this is a spell that you used to be able to stack up on a target to make them take increased damage. However now it's simply just a dot. It does not cost any soul shards now though, so you can spam it. And you do get a soul shard when the target dies with this debuff on them, but it's simply just a dot now. Looking at Corruption guys, as Affliction it's pretty much the same as it always has been. It is an instant cast unlike the other specs as before, however it now does do instant damage when you put it on the target. So Mastery's been updated to include Malefic Rupture. This is a pretty easy one guys. So we're going to look at Shadow Bolt now guys. So Shadow Embrace has been removed as a talent and is now baseline for Affliction Warlocks. Basically what this is going to mean is that we have to keep our 3 stacks of Shadow Embrace up on the target at all times to make them take the increased damage. There's been a few mana cost changes and spell power changes guys. We'll put them up on the screen now for you to take a look at. Let's look at talents for Affliction Warlocks. Dark Soul Misery has been taken off the GCD. Other than that, it's exactly the same as it was before. So Wrath of Agony, it still starts at 4 stacks, however it can ramp up to 18 stacks now. So Deathbolt, which was the loved talent, has now been removed as a PvE talent. Dark Caller is a new talent guys, which reduces Summon Dark Let's cooldown by 60 seconds, bringing it down to a 2-minute cooldown. So the Seeds, it can now embed up to 2 nearby targets, which is going to be interesting to see how that pans out. So Inevitable Demise was obviously the Azerite trait from BFA. It is now going to be a talent for Warlocks. So whenever you deal agony damage to a target, it'll increase the damage of your next drain life by 15% and it stacks up to 50 times, which is going to be a pretty big heal for Warlocks. Let's move on to Demonology now. So let's look at Axe Toss guys. It's the same as it was before, however if the target is not stunnable, it will still interrupt. So it basically gives Demonology Warlocks an interrupt with their Felguard. Demonic Tyrant, now when you summon it will instantly generate 5 soul shards. So Shadow Bolt is going to be your main way of generating soul shards. It will generate 1 soul shard per cast. There's also been some spell power changes for Demonology, guys. We'll put them up on the screen now for you to take a look at. Let's move on to Demonology talents. So with Demonic Consumption, guys, it's basically being reworked so it no longer will destroy all of your imps. Instead, it will now drain 15% of life from all your demon servants to empower itself. We have Demonic Calling, which gives your Shadow Bolt and your Demon Bolt a 20% chance to make your next Call Dreadstalkers cost 2 fewer soul shards and have no cast time. So let's look at Power Siphon. It now makes your Demon Bolt procs deal 30% additional damage. So from the shadows applies Dreadbite, which causes 20% additional Shadow Flame damage to the target for the next 12 seconds. And that's about it for Demonology. There's not too many changes. Let's move on to Destruction. So there's a few small changes here, guys. Havoc now lasts for 2 seconds longer on the target. Rain of Fire has had a 10% damage increase. And Summon Infernal now deals an additional 100% damage on impact and it's had a small spell power modifier. There's also been some spell power changes. Again, we'll put them on the screen for you to take a look at. Alright, let's move on to talents for Destruction. So Fire and Brimstone has had a change. It now generates 2 soul shards instead of 1. However, when we were testing this in beta, it did still seem to be generating 1 soul shard, so we'll see what happens there. Alright, let's look at Reign of Chaos, guys. So while your initial Infernal is active, every soul shard that you spend has a 20% chance to summon an additional Infernal. So basically, it's just a passive increase that gets more Infernals out while your initial one is active. But it's kind of cool. So let's look at Roaring Blaze. It no longer burns the target for additional damage. Instead, it will make the target take additional damage from Soulfire, Channel Demon Fire, Immolate, Incinerate, Conflagrate for the next 6 seconds by 30%. So Soulfire's had a massive spell power damage increase, guys. It goes up to 420% of your spell power now, which is huge. It still applies Immolate. However, it's had its soul shard generation reduced to 1 instead of 4 and its cast time is now 4 seconds. It does have a 45-second cooldown as well instead of 20 seconds. So Shadowburn's been reworked a bit. It now blasts a target for 130% of spell power damage and you do get 50% extra crit on a target if they have less than 20% health. And if the target does die within 5 seconds of casting the spell, you'll get a soul shard back. It does cost 1 soul shard though. The Grimoire of Supremacy talent has been removed and also Dark Soul Instability is now off the GCD. Alright, so let's get on to the fun part, PvP, guys. So Amplify Curses is a new PvP talent for all specs. It basically enhances the effectiveness of all curses. For Curse of Exhaustion, it will make them have 20% extra movement speed reduction. For Curse of Tongues, it will increase their cast time by a bonus 30%. And for Curse of Weakness, it will make it so the target cannot crit. So Endless Affliction has been removed and it's been replaced by Rampant Affliction. Basically, this will just allow you to put your Unstable Affliction on up to 3 targets. So although Deathbolt has been removed in PvE, it has not been removed in PvP. It is now a talent option for Affliction Warlocks. It has a 0.5 second cast and a 45-second cooldown. However, it does deal 60% of the remaining dot damage on the target instantly. We've had a couple of renames, guys. So Bane of Fragility and Bane of Shadows have replaced Curse of Fragility and Curse of Shadows. Soul Shatter has been changed slightly. It now consumes all corruption effects instead of all dots. Entrenched in Flame has been removed as a destruction talent. So Focus Chaos now increases the damage of Chaos Bolt by 40% instead of 65%. I think anyone who's ever came up against a Warlock in PvP is happy to see this change. Obviously the Curse of Tongues talent has been removed as that is now a baseline spell for all Warlocks. Gateway Mastery is now available to all Warlock specs. And there have been a few mana cost changes which we'll put up on the screen now. Alright, let's move on to Covenants, guys. First up, Kyrian. So as you all should know by now, each Covenant has 2 unique abilities that you will get. There is one that is a class ability, and there is one that is a Covenant ability. So for Kyrian, the Covenant ability is Summon Steward. Basically, this gives you access to change your talents without a tome, access to a little vendor, and it is on a 5-minute cooldown, so it could be a bit of fun for some people, but not too much usefulness. Our class ability is Scouring Tithe. So Scouring Tithe is a debuff that you can put on a target. It does have a cast time and it deals some initial damage and dot damage. However, if the target dies with this debuff on it, it will generate you 5 soul shards. However, if it does not die, it will reset the cooldown of this ability, so you can simply just reapply it. So let's look at Night Fae, guys. For the Covenant ability, we have got Soul Shape. So Soul Shape is on a 2-minute cooldown, and it will turn you into a furry and teleport you forward 15 yards. While you're a furry, you can teleport every 4 seconds 15 yards. So it's a bit of dashing around for 12 seconds. However, when you're in a rested zone, you do get to have this form permanently, which is kind of cool. So for the class ability, we have got Soul Rot. Soul Rot has a 1-minute cooldown and a 1.5 second cast time. When Soul Rot is cast on a target, it will explode on up to 3 nearby enemies and put a debuff on them for 8 seconds. When you cast Drain Life now, it won't cost any mana and it will hit all enemies with Soul Rot on it instead of just the target you are targeting. Alright, let's look at Venthyr now, guys. So Door of Shadows is the Covenant-wide ability. It has a 1-minute cooldown and it will teleport you at your target location after a short cast. Obviously, when you pair this with Demonic Circle and Demonic Gateway, it gives Warlocks a lot of gap closing, as you guys can see. So for the class ability, we've got Impending Catastrophe. Basically what this does is sends a cloud of anima at the target, exploding on them and nearby enemies, and it will put a debuff on them, making them take shadow damage for 12 seconds. However, it will also apply a curse to those targets, as you guys can see here. Last up, we have got Necrolord. So for the Covenant-wide ability, we have got Fleshcraft. Fleshcraft has got a 2-minute cooldown and a 4-second cast time, after which you gain an Absorb Shield. This is going to be quite interesting how it plays out in PvP and obviously in raids for soaking mechanics. Hashtag bring back Warlock tank. Last of all, guys, the class ability is Decimating Bolt. Decimating Bolt has a 45-second cooldown and a 2.5 second cast time. On top of it dealing damage, it will also increase the damage of your next 3 Incinerate, Shadow Bolt, or Drain Soul, depending on your spec, and this damage will increase the lower health the target has, which is going to be pushing us even more in the direction of execute damage, which is interesting to see. And that's pretty much it for the chains we could find. If you'd like to download any of the class recalls we used in this video, we'll provide a link down below. You can check me out on Twitch for more Shadowlands content. I'll put a link down there as well. Thanks heaps for watching. See you later.